What it do, everybody in the Who Dat Nation? It's the one and only Who Dat Davis here for you. And if you don't know, you will know that over here we bleed black and gold until we are dead and cold. And thank you guys very much for checking out this edition of the Black and Gold Breakdown podcast. I hope you guys are enjoying your college football Saturday. A lot of exciting games going on today, except if you're a Texas fan like myself. The Texans, like the Texas Longhorns, they lost to the Oklahoma Sooners when they were up 41-23. Not a good day. Not a good day for us. But everybody else, it's been exciting games all around. Very excited for football weekend as always. But thank you guys once again for checking out the Black and Gold Breakdown podcast. If you guys haven't already, make sure you hit that like button, you hit that notification bell, and you hit the subscribe button along with that, so you guys never miss a single moment on when your boy goes live with content. We are going to be talking about the keys to victory for the New Orleans Saints and what they need to do to beat the Washington football team tomorrow as they go on the road to take on that team, and some slightly less than favorable conditions. It's supposed to be raining down there tomorrow. 65, I believe, is that a temperature or rain percentage chance. Either way, the Saints need to make sure they take the wheels of this game. First, we're going to get into the injury report and what this means for the New Orleans Saints. We're going to be starting out with, let's see, check out this injury report. The injury report for the New Orleans Saints is not a lengthy one like last week. The only difference is J.T. Gray was listed limited the day before with a back injury. He was listed full yesterday, which means he is good to go. As always, Teron Armstead and Eric McCoy, two of your best offensive linemen, are not going to be here for this game, which means James Hurst, once again, starting out at that left tackle spot, and Calvin Throckmorton remains at the right guard spot with Cesar Ruiz taking over control of the center spot until McCoy gets back, which probably is going to be after the bye week, right? Now, what does this mean for the Washington football team? The Washington football team's list is extensive. We're going to start out with the wide receivers here. We're going to first start off with De'Ami Brown is officially listed as out, and Cam Sims, their biggest wide receiver on this chart, he is officially out. That eliminates 50-50 balls thrown by Taylor Heineke. But as always, they have Terry McLaurin, and Curtis Samuel is listed as questionable, which means he most likely will go. If you guys have seen this movie before with high-end receivers being listed as questionable, they normally are going because, as always, they like to give it their shot with the New Orleans Saints, and then they really go on the injury reserve list at the very most the week after. So expect Curtis Samuel and expect Terry McLaurin. Now, what does that mean for the Saints secondary? It means they have to get back. They have to get back right after that embarrassing loss last week to the New York Giants. The Terry McLaurin is the primary receiver for Taylor Heineke on a majority of throws, meaning like last week he had, I believe it was 7 for 100 for $123 and a touchdown. Terry McLaurin is a very productive wide receiver. Marshawn Lattimore is going to have his hands full. He needs to make sure that he plasters him all game long, limit the explosive plays down the middle of the field. And if Curtis Samuel is going, that means Paulson Adebo is going to have to make sure he gets his get back this week. He shakes off last week's game. He gets himself in the right mindset, and he is prepared to ball out. He had a tough game last week against the New York Giants, going up against twitchy receivers like Kadarius Toney and a speedster like John Ross, who is still around in the league, obviously, for a number of reasons. But either way, Paulson Adebo, for a good of a rookie corner he is coming out of Stanford, he's still a rookie, right? And they're probably going to target him a lot in this game once again, especially after what he displayed last week. They're going to test him against some other receivers on their roster, especially if Curtis Samuel is in the lineup. Now, normally he's a slot guy, a third down receiver, but they're probably going to like that matchup, Curtis Samuel against Paulson Adebo. Curtis Samuel normally should win those matchups every time. We will see what happens going forward. For the other news here, the Saints have officially signed Kenny Stills to the 53-man roster. That means he is officially a part of this Saints starters, and that means Lil Jordan Humphrey is no longer here. That's unfortunate. He's going to be inactive, and I hate it for Lil Jordan because I love Lil Jordan, love this since time in Texas, but the issue with the Saints wide receivers right now, they don't get separation. And that's a problem, especially when you have a game plan like Sean Payton that's limiting Jameis to less than 25 snaps per passes per game. I think he doesn't have more than 23, which means they need to capitalize on every snap they have in the passing game, which means the Saints wide receivers need to do a better job at getting open. And outside of Deontay Harris, not many have done that. Not Chris Hogan, not even Marquez Callaway, not even Jawan Johnson, a flex tight end. They need reliable pass catchers that can create separation. And Kenny Stills, even though he's lost his stuff, he's still better than what they have currently on the active roster. It gives you a speed guy, it gives you a separation guy, and that's very much needed. Very, very much needed. So congratulations to Kenny Stills for getting signed to a 53-man roster. Shout out to Sean Payton in the front office for doing the right thing and getting him to the active roster. And to make room for him, they released defensive tackle Christian Ringo, and they have elevated offensive lineman Jordan Mills off of the practice squad to the game day roster. Now, I'm very interested in seeing what they do without Christian Ringo, even though he hasn't been as productive as you would like him to be, and understandably so. That lack of pass rush last week was very prominent. You know, they've been phasing him out week by week as the season goes on, and as Tanner Passino, a guy coming out of Kansas City, was being brought on. Last week, Christian Ringo had 14 snaps on the defensive line, or as opposed to Shy Tuttle, Tanner Passino, he had 26, and you had your anchor guy in Malcolm Roach. So those guys are getting a lot of looks inside. That really just left Christian Ringo as the odd man out. It's very unfortunate, but it is what it is. You need to have consistent pass rush to affect the quarterback, and Christian Ringo just has not done that. So it is what it is. Hopefully, this doesn't come back to bite them. You never had too many bodies down there on that defensive front. Now, they also are going to be without the Washington football team, mind you. They're going to be without their starting guard, which is Brandon Scherf. Brandon Scherf, a Pro Bowl caliber offensive lineman for the Washington football team, which means that normally the Saints should capitalize on that, but they haven't as of late, and it's very unfortunate because last week the Giants were out an offensive guard, and the Saints did nothing with it. They did nothing with it at all. They did nothing to affect the quarterback. Cam Jordan was getting a lot of double teams and chips off the line of scrimmage. Peyton Turner went up against Andrew Thomas, a very good left tackle for the New York Giants, and one of the best offensive tackles so far. And in terms of second-year offensive lineman, very good, very prominent. He had his day, and hopefully this Washington football team offensive line doesn't give them that same type of trouble. The Saints have to do better at getting pressure on Taylor Heineke, even though he's one of the better quarterbacks against blitzes. They have to find a way to get to him without blitzing Demario Davis, without blitzing Kaden Ellis, even though Kaden Ellis is that fifth man to blitz the quarterback. Taylor Heineke is a very twitchy, very shifty quarterback for the Washington football team. He's a guru at escaping the pocket and extending plays, making use of his legs in the scramble game, just a little like Lamar Jackson or Daniel Jones. These mobile quarterbacks, they give the Saints fits. So they'll have to find a way to keep Taylor Heineke from hurting them too much with his legs, and that means what I would do is spot a quarterback with Demario Davis or with Pete Werner, especially considering that Logan Thomas is not going to be here for the Washington football team. Tight end Logan Thomas, one of their best pass catchers in the passing game, is not going to be here for this game, and it's very advantageous for the Saints to make sure they take full advantage of it, because that's going to be one less problem for you to deal with, one less headache. And if Curtis Samuel ends up not going, or if he ends up getting injured or is taken out of the game, then the Saints defense should have an easier time defending what they have in terms of wide receivers. Now, people are going to ask, well, what's the difference between, the Washington football team's receivers and the Giants receivers? 1 second. Yep. What? Yeah, I'll pay you back. It should be Not sure. Probably no less than 15. I know that. I'll pay you back. Don't worry. I got you. Yeah. The Chevron gas station. Appreciate it. That was my sister, guys. That was my sister. If you guys don't know who that was, I got a shrimp po' boy on the way, so I had to make sure I get my food. But back to what I was saying in terms of advantageous spots for the New Orleans Saints defense. No Logan Thomas, possibly without Curtis Samuel. It's important for them to ensure that they get to the quarterback and they don't let other receivers get free. And the difference between the Washington receivers and Giants receivers, uh, no problem, Bcon. I appreciate you coming by regardless, man. I appreciate you. Have fun on Q stream. I'll be by soon enough. This is going to be a relatively short stream anyway. I just wanted to get my thoughts and opinions out there. But what I was talking about, the difference between these two receiving cores in the NFC East, the Giants have speedy guys throughout their entire core. That even beyond just Sterling Shepard, beyond just Darius Slayton. Kenny Galladay is a really good receiver, very underrated, even though he's just a little injury prone, right? Kadarius Toney, he's been a twitchy guy since his time at Ole Miss. And you have John Ross, who has shown that he can be a burner when it comes down to it. So all they need to do, Washington wise, like they don't have those type of twitchy receivers. They don't have those shifty guys that they need to be worried about constantly threatening them over the top. So what they need to do is keep everything in front of them. Paul Debo, just keep everything in front of them, and they'll be okay in terms of the passing game. I don't expect this Saints secondary to be torched as much as last week. I don't expect that at all. Now the linebackers actually going to be an interesting part for the New Orleans Saints defense, especially can Pete Werner string together back-to-back strong performances. This is going to be Pete Werner's third start for the New Orleans Saints in his third start of his NFL career, and he's strung together really impressive performances. His best one coming in the second game last week against the Giants, where he racked up 10 total tackles and a tackle for a loss on top of that. Very excited to see what Pete Werner can do. Very excited to see how he goes up against J.D. McKissick and the likes of Antonio Gibson, their premier running back in terms of passing efficiency, pass catching efficiency, excuse me. But the Saints offense, what I believe the offense they need to do, the offense needs to make sure that they control the clock and they control the line of scrimmage. It all starts up front. The Washington football team secondary has been absolutely atrocious. They're one of the worst in the league. And what they need to do is ensure that they hold up front against that that's still very stout Washington football team defensive line, and really have Jameis Winston attack that secondary. Marquez Callaway, Deontay Harris, these guys can kill that secondary if they just get enough time. Even Kenny Stills, he can kill that secondary if they just give him enough time. You got Josh Sweat, you got Montrevious Adam, I believe you got Jonathan Allen, excuse me, and you have Chase Young going up against, I believe, James Hurst, and I believe Chase Young is going to give James Hurst a run for his money. So what they need to do is make sure they protect Jameis Winston, and the wide receivers need to make sure they get enough separation and make sure they move the ball effectively. They're also pretty bad against the run. The Atlanta Falcons gashed them in the run game with Cordero Patterson and with the Mike Davis and his ability to create yards after contact, yards after the catch. So make sure you get Alvin Kamara involved. Alvin Kamara went his first game of his Saints tenure without recording a reception. That's very, very odd. He doesn't want to make that a habit, and I don't think Sean Payton wants to make that a habit. You have your RB2 and Divine Ozigbo, who was let go in 2019's preseason because Latavius Murray was still a really good, solid RB2 for the New Orleans Saints. What they need to do is make sure they have a balanced running attack with he and Alvin Kamara, set up the play action like always, and let your receiving core torch this bad secondary. Marquez Callaway is due for a big game, as is Juwan Johnson, the receiving tight end, and hopefully even Adam Trautman. Maybe he can get involved. Adam Trautman is a guy who's been more, I would say he's been disappointing, yeah, but he's also taking control of the blocking duties until Nick Van Nett comes back to the active fold is very unfortunate. They need to make sure that they get the tight ends involved. The tight ends involved will be key, I believe, in taking control of the middle of the field because they're going to be spread out wide. Spread out wide, attack the middle, get Juwan Johnson, Adam Chapman involved, especially Adam Chapman because he needs that confidence right now. I don't think he's as confident, especially when after week 1 he had 2 key drops. That really, I believe, it shook his confidence ever since. Hopefully that will be a turnaround game for Trout. Hopefully it'll be a turnaround game for Juwan Johnson. We saw a taste of what the tight end production can look like when they get going. Overall, Sean Payton needs to make sure he calls a good game. He needs to make sure he calls Taysom Hill in the right situations. If you're going to run the QB power, you're going to run the RPOs with Taysom Hill, he needs to make sure he has full understanding of down and distance and what the flow of the game is looking like. And they need to make sure that they use him, for example, inside enemy territory. I don't care if it's 31 or 30 inches. If it's 30 inches, maybe, but 31, no. They're going to be fully expecting Taysom Hill to run the football. And I don't care if this Washington football team defense is atrocious. They are going to be loading up that box to stop the run. And with how your tight end personnel, your running back personnel, how all that shapes out, it hasn't been all that prominent. They need to make sure that they dial it up a little bit. Go Taysom Hill some passes in the short and intermediate. Do not, for any circumstance, throw the deep ball. Please, begging you, do not do that, Sean. This is a must-have it game for the New Orleans Saints going into the bye week. And if they get into 3-2 going into the bye week, then they're going to be in a very, very advantageous spot because the week after they're going to be going up against the Seattle Seahawks, who are without Russell Wilson now, thanks to Aaron Donald again messing up QB fingers. Russell Wilson is expected to be out 6 to 8 weeks with a finger injury. He just had surgery on it. So the Saints are going to be in a very, very good spot. The strength schedule just got a little easier for them, and hopefully they take advantage of that. But that's it. That's all for right now. I have to make sure I get ready for that shrimp po' boy coming up pretty soon. But until next time, guys, enjoy Big Q. I know Big Q is up right now, so you guys go have fun with him. Until next time, as always, it's black and gold until we are dead and cold. And I'll see you guys tomorrow for final thoughts on the pregame show regarding the Saints and Washington football team. I will holler at y'all later.